through some of that detail with the members in a moment. Again, because of the complexity of this issue, we did actually offer to members last week the opportunity to attend an informal briefing in preparation for this report coming this evening to full council next week, which obviously I'm aware that some members present took the opportunity of. So, before I actually get into the meat of the report in relation to contract end and the work we need to do, I'll just give a very quick recap for members in relation to the South West 1 contract. Apologies obviously to those of you that obviously heard this last week. The South West 1 contract that we have is actually a 10-year contract that was signed originally in 2007. Specifically, South West 1 is a public-private joint venture company, but it is, in legal terms, it is a separate legal entity and a limited company. The public partners to the partnership are obviously ourselves, Somerset County Council and the Avon and Somerset Police, with IBM being the private sector partner. The contract was largely set up to deliver a range of back-office services to all of the organisations, and it's pretty much the same services that it was delivering to the various organisations. And I provided Appendix A to the report, a list of the Taunton services that we originally put in scope. Appendix A also provides details of the services that we have already to date taken back in-house since the beginning of the contract, and very roughly we have brought back in-house something approaching 2/3 of the original contract. In addition to delivering those day-to-day services, the South West 1 contract also delivered a number of key transformation projects back in 2007, which were funded, or are being funded, through procurement savings that the council and the other partners are making. Two of those key projects were in relation to the implementation of the SAP back office system and the SAP CRM, or Customer Relationship Management System. Now, having that common computer platform for the partnership was absolutely crucial to South West 1's ability to deliver savings across the partnership, because simply they're working on the same basic ICT platforms for all three partners. In terms of the staffing arrangements, in 2007, all of the public partners seconded a number of staff to the partnership. Now, they seconded rather than transferred under the normal treaty arrangements. Now, the secondment arrangement effectively lasts for the 10 years of the contract, and in addition provides an assured employment guarantee for the staff who seconded. And that was something that IBM actually offered to all the authorities through the bidding processes as one of the members of the contract. So that's hopefully some useful background in terms of what South West 1 is. In terms of contract end specifically, the contract is actually due to come to an end in November 2017. Now, obviously, I appreciate that is still some 2.5 years off, but actually, in view of the size and scale of the contract, we judge that we need to start doing detailed work now in preparation for that contract end, leading up or to enable us to make recommendations to members later this year, so that you can start to make decisions in good time to enable us to implement that in preparation for contract end. In addition, this is a partnership, so decisions that we make locally potentially impact on the other partners to this as well. So we're conscious that we need to be working, and as far as it's possible to do, with the other partners in actually implementing whatever our decision is in relation to contract end. Specifically, I think we need to do a number of things in relation to preparing for this, which the report outlines. Firstly, and most importantly, I think we need to consider a couple of recommendations as to the most appropriate future service delivery option or options for the services that we still have within South West One. As part of that, we also need to consider the impact on the remaining seconded staff that we have within South West One. We still have somewhere just short of 50 staff actually seconded to the South West One partnership. I obviously mentioned the implementation of the SAP computer system, which was the necessary computer system for the partnership. But we also need to give consideration as to actually whether going forwards that is going to be the right IT platform for the council in the future, which could depend heavily upon we need to factor in the service delivery model that we choose going forwards. So we need to review that in some detail. Obviously, crucially as well, through this period of transition at the end of the project partnership, we have to ensure that we maintain service delivery. Because obviously South West One is there and those services are there to actually support the council and in some cases, in the case of customer services, directly deliver services to customers. You will want to be clear on, we will need to be clear on the costs of the various options that we're potentially going to consider moving to the future. We also need to ensure that the future service delivery option that we recommend, that is chosen, enables the council to deliver its corporate objectives and priorities going forward and actually fits with our new and changed corporate priorities and objectives. I'm obviously conscious that the world of 2015 is a very different place. So the financial climate is very different from the time when we actually entered into this the contract with South West One. So that's some of the issues that we've got to consider through the contract end process. I think hopefully you'll see from that actually there are actually a lot of issues in there, and it's a multifaceted piece of work. So it is actually quite a complex and detailed project that we have to actually undertake to come up with recommendations. In terms of the approach that we would suggest taking to contract end planning, broadly speaking, it's a three-phased approach. The first phase, which I'm talking to you in detail about tonight, is very much actually around a detailed options appraisal, which would lead up to us being able to put detailed costed options in front of you to enable you to make decisions later in the year. The second phase then is, having made decisions in terms of the future of the contract, is then very much about us actually implementing those decisions, the chosen options, in the lead up to the contract end. The third phase of this then just recognises that following the end of the contract, because we are very likely to be moving services to a new operating model, new way of working, that we will need a period of stabilisation to make sure that those services bed in properly in whatever new way of working we're in at that stage. But as stressed, the current focus is very much on the first phase, that three-phase approach. In terms of what we need to cover in that first phase, as I've said, the end product is a detailed and costed options appraisal and recommendations. But that also needs to cover in some detail, and this is an area we will very much have to work with the other parties on. The approach to potentially bringing staff back in-house, and in some instances transferring them to cheaply, potentially staff from either direct hire staff of South West One or staff from the other partners who would come to us. In addition, there is a separate piece of work we need to do in relation to the SAP system that I've mentioned, and we need to undertake a detailed review to establish actually what potential suitable alternative systems would be, depending on what operating model we want to move to. There are two broad elements to that, because there is what's known as the SAP back office system, which is broadly the finance systems and the HR systems, and also an element of the procurement system as well. But also separately, there is the customer relationship management system, which underpins the ability of customer services to actually deliver their services to the public. And I think we probably need to look at those two elements separately, and it may be that even with back office systems that we need to look at separate options for each. But again, it's a detailed piece of work to actually understand what alternatives are out there, how much they would cost, how quickly we can implement them. I think it's highly likely as well that during this phase we will need to potentially commence negotiations with South West One, or at the very least discussions to actually understand how we can make this happen. And obviously we need to talk to the other partners about firstly what they're doing, but obviously to discuss and hopefully make sure that what we're doing is consistent and doesn't cause them significant problems. And then obviously the key element of this is that we will be coming forward to you with recommendations. As I mentioned, this is a chunky piece of work, so yeah, as the report details, we believe we need to resource this appropriately to make sure that A, we can hit the timetable that we're looking at, and B, we can come forward with sufficient detail. So specifically, I'm looking to resource this. There's a key piece here around project management. To an extent, we may need some specialist commercial skills if we actually get into negotiations during this phase. The HR piece is the employment law piece is quite key, so we need to make sure that we've got an appropriate level of resource on that. We will need an element of specialist legal advice on this, which we will need to buy in externally. We will need finance support. There is going to be a large amount of number crunching with this to try and establish the costs of running services going forward. And finally, there's that entire piece I mentioned around actually looking at alternative computer system options to replace the SAP system. So, you know, that's a very quick overview of what the report is attempting to explain. In terms of the recommendations tonight, as I mentioned, this report will go on to the full council next week. Members are being asked this evening to note the work that we need to undertake in relation to succession planning and support an approval or request for an additional £47,000 in funding to help fund that first phase of the project. So that's probably all I wanted to say by way of introduction, and obviously happy to take questions.
Thank you, Richard, for introducing that and what your recommendations are. Now, I have two members of the public. Thank you for giving us notice that you were going to attend. I'm going to ask three of you, Nigel Beale, David Orr and Roger Conway. I think that's the order you wish to. Can I draw your attention? You've got 3 minutes to, in fact, put your comments to it, and I'm calling on Nigel Beale to start the things, if I may. So, nothing. Yes. Nigel, but you're off. Yes, okay.
Thank you, Chair. I have submitted these in writing. Okay, question 1, and it'd be helpful if these were circulated to the committee as well, perhaps. Anyway, question 1 is about paragraph 3.8. I won't repeat the paragraph, but I'll complete the final sentence where it says the original target procurement savings was £10 million, but South West One have revised this to circa £5 million. In practice, only circa £3 million savings have been identified. So question 1A is, what is the level of cash flow savings at the end of March 2015? And question 1B, what is the forecast cash flow savings by the end of the contract, which is 2017?